earlier this year, they played a challenge match together in Dubai. Chua won 15-14. 2 days later, he travelled down to Vagara's home base in Abu Dhabi, and Vagara beat him 15-14. So that's how good Harry Vagara is, even though he's got no great tournament record to speak of.
Yeah, and I saw Jayson prior to this match, and I think Vagara, he had mentioned beating SVB a couple times before this last one here today to get to that final 8.
Yeah, it's true in challenge matches. Okay, so Shaw wins the lag. Let's see if he can make a flying start.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm not sure why. One thing that's a little different that I saw from Kopi, and it's really a little more like Jayson at times we've seen in the past. You know, he won that match today against Al-Qaeda and made a nice comeback, but I never saw so much frustration or showing so much frustration from a Kopi before. He's going to feel better about that comeback, but I'm not sure what it was. Something in the air, I think.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it right at the start of our broadcast, Jeremy, when you were saying about Jayson Shaw not being characteristic this week. He's been doing that kind of thing right from his very first match. Now, obviously, as defending champion, he got things underway. 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, he played a local amateur, Win Dat Phi, and there was no larking around, no liberties taken. Right from the get-go, he was all business.
Yeah, absolutely, and we saw that again against Wang yesterday. You know, I think he kind of recognized some advantage against Wang, you may say, trying to tie up the 7-8 and just concede ball in hand there. That's how difficult the hit and how good the safety was to open from Shaw.
All great potters. I suppose if you want to include snooker, you say all great scorers eventually cotton on to the fact they're going to be able to pot more balls and score more heavily if they play a good safety game. And maybe Shaw has tied himself up in that regard, because I like the way he's approaching it. It's a more balanced game.
Yeah, and you know, I think he's always had that. Well, not always. He was a little more, you know, inexperienced when he first came over, but we all saw the talent. But you know, he would just kind of win or lose the matches with offense alone. And now he's really got the whole package. He kicks at the ball great, really no weakness. But the thing that I see also is, you know, it's Shaw at times when he trailed or if he got a few bad rolls, you know, he could look at a shot and said, oh, why would I play safe here? You know, that he's just going to kick out of it again or get lucky on some type of jump, something like that. I think he's just starting to realize that's just part of it and how great these players are. And he's getting a little bit back more to percentage pool. Okay, he wants to hold the angle. That should be good. Now he's got to come in. He's got to make a decision. Do I float in long, which I kind of like, or do I try to come tight? And the more I look at the 9, actually the 9's a bit further down towards the 7-8 than I first thought. So I'll probably come in tight. 3 cushions, kind of drifting towards the brown for the combination on the 8. Could come a little closer to that 9 than I suspected, though.
I'll tell you one thing, we don't know whether he's going to win the match, but he certainly wins the popularity contest here. Fedor-Gorst, immensely popular in these parts. Of course, all of the Vietnamese players too. But I think this year, top of the pops is Jayson Shaw.
Yeah, and talking about that this table hasn't been used all week. This is really just the 3rd match, and they've all been today. To, you know, reflect a bit more about Jayson. He's really good on the new felt. Really, really good.
Jayson Shaw, they call him Eagle Eye. Well, he's fit for takeoff there. Also, Claudio Cacci from Albania, emerging out of the shadow of his big brother, Kachi. He's 1-0 up on Chua.
When we talk about Vagara, you got to talk about Cledio as well. I mean, of course, he's been out here a bit more, and we know what the family's all about, and that's winning. But really good stuff and a really good comeback. Say mini comeback there against Aranis in the last round.
Defending a title is very, very tough. Sure, he's 3 wins away from doing so. Just to put into perspective what he's trying to do, and obviously this is the first 2 years of the tournament. Let's look at the World 9-Ball Championship, which began in 1990. Only one player has successfully defended that, Earl Strickland. 1990 and 91, the first 2 years. So maybe Jayson Chua could emulate Strickland by winning the first 2 editions of this.
Well, he does have one tournament that he has defended many times in the northeast part of America, Turning Stone. And, when you start to get comfortable in a certain place, you can really reflect on it. I know it's only been, again, this is the 2nd year, but he's the only one with the W.
Another classic example of that was the great Ralph Souquet from Germany, who won the World Masters 6 times.
Yeah, odd shot here. Love to skim off the right and kind of float past the 3, kind of using the 9 there as a big blocker. I don't know if that's what he's sizing up at the moment. Oh, he's sizing up some kind of tricky shot here. Is he going to play the 2 into the 7? Kind of drawing the cue ball back behind the pink, maybe? A lot going on with this shot. I don't mind that shot. A little fortunate, I think, but maybe not my first choice, Phil, with other options.
The 2 collisions in quick succession at the end of the shot really helped Shaw, but he could be in trouble after this.
This is touchy as well, and the reason why is if you don't get the snooker, you could sell out something offensive or an easy safety in return, and he did give up, although jacked up, a very playable 2-ball. Good thing he is jacked up. It'd probably be an early winner on the 3-9 combination. It's got to go a little bit. I think he just got there. It is very close. Well, he doesn't seem too upset about it. Oh no, he's snookered for sure. So he's going to try and draw this back into the 9. I think that's what he was measuring up. Of course, the other match going on, Cledio Kochi and Johan Chua. A little worried about Johan in that one. Only reason being he didn't get much fired at by Ignacio in that first match here in the final 16. Look at
here. Hear the roar of the Hanoi faithful. They were loving that one. It was a jump, it was a deep screw, it was a perfect contact on the 9. Jayson Chua, a spectacular Scot.
And he recognized it right away. Really playing the 9 more than anything. I think he ignored the 3 a bit.
He's one of those people, Jayson Chua, he's got a really stern look on his face, hasn't he? And yet, when you get chatting with him, he's very amiable and always full of fun.
Yeah, I went to Scotland this year for the first time ever, and really all the people there were incredible. A lot of fun there at the Scottish Open. And of course, Jayson was kind of a mini host for that tournament.
Well, after raising the decibel level, Shaw's now looking for a more conventional rack.
One of the unique breakers, he pulls the cue ball quite a bit inside the box there. Plays a bit more of a cut on the 1. Now, we had some things go on earlier in the day about, is it a forceful break, that match between FSR and Skylar? There was a little drama. To me, that one looked a little on the lighter side.
I think the problem, though, is in the actual sentence you put together there. Looked. It's a subjective rule, isn't it?
Yeah, and, the thing is, like I was telling someone else, when you have different styles, right? Like Skylar, for instance, he has a quicker tempo. So no matter what he does, it's always going to appear he's hitting the ball harder, where FSR is a little more fluid stroke. So you really have to break it down and look at what's going on with the rack, how the cue ball's reacting. And to be fair, maybe go to the videotape after this tournament and just have a little look and see if there's not necessarily some merit about what Skylar was saying, but just maybe look at a few players and see the differences.
Yeah, I'm not so much criticising Skylar, not criticising FSR either. One's right, one's incorrect, obviously, in this argument. Don't know which one it is, but I do feel for the referees because, as we've said, it's a subjective rule.
Yeah, we're still wrapping our head around it, and we'll get it, I think, better and better as we go. But to me, I didn't really see a whole lot different than when FSR was breaking and winning all those tournaments, from what I saw anyways.
Not had the best 24 hours per old Skylar. He dropped a bottle of water last night when he was playing Kopi and stretched over to pick it up and really hurt his shoulder. He was still quite sore today.
Yeah, and he's had a few shoulder issues before in the past. Still a young man, so heals quickly, but he'll know as he gets a little older. Maybe if you're in the tournament, let somebody else reach over for that water. Good stuff there from Shaw. Keeping it simple, it'll be the jump cue here for Kopi, unless he's got a piece of this.
Before he plays, let me tell you, Claudio Kachi is now 2-0 up on Johan Chua. Jeremy, of course, is absolutely right. Chua will face more resistance there than he did against Ignacio.
And quite the opposite, as far as Claudio was in a real fight against Aranis, so gaining all kinds of experience. Look at the 9 here. I think there's 9-ball action here as well. I really don't think the 6 is too much in the way. Actually, not in the way at all. Now, the one thing is, if you do shoot it, you got to put some speed on it. You can't let this kind of lay up for a combination for Kopi.
Jayson Shaw nails another. This crowd loving it. The defending champion loving it. But Kopi most certainly isn't loving it, because very quickly he trails 3-0. Hanoi, one of the world's fastest growing cities. And so it's entirely appropriate that it's the host of one of the pool world's fastest growing tournaments, only the 2nd edition, and already firmly established as one of the very best. Jayson Shaw lit the touch paper last year, beating Albin Auschen 13-12 in a classic final. But he's not satisfied, he wants his name on the trophy again. And the way this quarter-final has begun, it's quite clear he's a man on a mission.
wants that cue ball to get up. The key, stay away from the jump shot here. Of course, you're going to take your chances with that snooker, but he could get off. Could have gotten up on the pink. It would just eliminate an option. Tell you, not a lot of future hitting the right side of this. You may go for the cross side bank if the 7's not in the way. He's going to try and bring the cue ball back behind these other balls. That's probably a pretty good play. Oh, he played the kick. I don't know if this is going to open up, but it's been kind of like safety shawl here. And then a couple of special shots. So cue ball behind the 6 as the 2 comes down table.
You look at the history of cue sports, and sometimes players known to be uber attacking do suddenly embrace safety, and they become so dangerous.
Yeah, I think we've seen that with many players here of late, last few years. So much talent pocketing the ball, but there's so much more to the game. Great hit, but this 2 looks all right. All right, he'll take it.
The big news, of course, when we came off air earlier. After that, Harry Vagara went on to beat Shane Van Boening. I was watching the last 5 racks table side, and Vagara did have a good run. Obviously, he had the golden break to win. In the rack to get on the hill, he was angled, jawed by Shane Van Boening. He came off the side cushion, potted the 7, rolled the 8 ball into the top corner dead weight at pretty much maximum distance, and added the 9. So 2 extraordinary racks to get over the line. And I think the point I'm trying to make is, yes, he played well, but you also need a little bit of fortune.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but again, we couldn't see all of it. We were in the booth, me and Michael, but we'd see some special shots when they'd pan over with the cameras, and then 2 or 3 of those games where it looked like he was going to clear the last few balls, Vagara made a few mistakes. So I really kind of feel like it could have been more like a 10-5 win if he makes some of those clearances.
He's been very much under the radar, Vagara. He's been playing pool for 20 years. He's 35, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, the slow roll on the 8, I know it was to win, but a lot of players don't even want to pull the trigger on that. They're going to try and maybe jack up there and hit the ball with a lot more speed. They just don't want to sell out shooting something soft. But it was absolutely the right shot, and what a time to pull it off. This has got to go. He hits that with a little more speed. It holds its line better and maybe slides in.
Yeah, just one footnote on Vagara. I did actually tell him that I thought the 8 ball was brilliant. It was nerveless. We were having a joke afterwards, and I said, well done, Harry. That's really good, because we need a few more good Filipino players. We haven't got that many. Joking. He did see the joke. Of course, 6 Filipinos in the last 16 to start the day. A quartet in the quarterfinals tonight.
Yeah, 2 have to face each other, that being Vagara being one of them. Boy, it's been efficient stuff here from Shaw. Very efficient. Claudio Kochi gets another on his side. Now up 3-1.
Now there, he was tempted to play right-handed. I'm so glad he didn't. I don't like it when players do that and they look unstable. Okay, they might pop the ball, but why take the risk?
Yeah, he's got to get on with it now. Clock going down. You can see it on your lower left. It's down to 3 seconds.
Yeah, he's an accomplished snooker player, Jayson Chua. So the bridge, no problem.
Oh, kind of. Now that's a good look at what may have not went on one of the outer tables. That 5 ball there, catching some of the long rail. Got to pay attention to this one as well. He needs some draw. All right. Did he get enough to where he can get to the side rail here easily? Yeah, I thought this was awkward. Thought he needed a few more inches, especially if he's going to rest on a rail. Now he may have to float this a bit and maybe even cheat the pocket. And those pockets are very small in the middle. Oh, now he's going to try and avoid the scratch by a lot of speed. Watch outside pocket. He's going to land on these balls. And the only place he could get snookered, right behind the 9. Well,
one more revolution of the cue ball, he's fine.
yeah, and maybe just overlooked what he really needed on that brown 7 when he shot the green 6. Trying to get that ball in the middle. Could get a little funny. It sure did.
Maybe a little bit of gamesmanship there, putting the hand up to apologise to Ko, as if to say this is a tricky one. Mind you, Ko knows that anyway.
Yeah, he's going to kick at this 2 cushions. I think 2. He may go 1. Really can't fault either direction, 1 or 2 cushions. This looks like a little inside of it. Yeah. And you know, you want to keep accuracy on that kick, but I kind of like putting a little more speed. Maybe you get a little fortunate if you miss.
It's no go for Ko so far. All 4 racks have been a sure thing. 4-0.
Yeah, a couple trick shots from Jayson Shaw. Good look at Kochi. I'll tell you, it's funny. I was behind him the other day, exiting the arena, and I was paying attention to him. I was like, man, you walk just like Big Brother as well. Got the same little sachet.
Had snooker ambitions, did Kochi. He's won the national title in Albania. He's played in international junior events as well, but I think he's slowly coming around to the fact that he's a fine 9-ball player. Although he did, just as we cut away there, miss that 3.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. It was a little awkward queuing near the purple 5. He's not going to miss many open balls, that's for sure. Smart kid as well. I talked to him in Jeddah there at the World Pool Championships, and you know, I was asking him, you know, what about snooker? And he's like, well, I realized I had to change my stroke for pool, or commit to a stroke for pool, and he's done so. And there's interesting little technique things that he's very aware of at such a young age. Now, if we see that break again, you'll kind of see the 9 push out of the rack a little bit. And these are templates, and these referees have been awesome, but occasionally they miss it a little bit, and when the 9 pushes straight out of the back of the rack, that usually means something wasn't quite froze. Now, can he get at this? I think he can, and I'm talking about the potting angle to the top right. Got to really control some speed coming 1 red down. Now, can he swing this 2 rails for a 2-9 combination? Not the worst choice. Important shot there for Kochi and Yi. Okay, that 1 ball really was, you know, I think the toughest shot of the rack as far as getting position. Now it's gotten a little off angle here, so he may simplify things with the pink 4 near the lower left.
can't keep going to the well when it comes to recoveries against world-class players. As I mentioned at the top of the match, Ko Pin-Yi came back well against Tyler Steyer and David Al-Kaidi in successive matches. Eventually, the law of averages will catch up with you.
Yeah, well, just with these guys, you're just going to have a match to where they don't let you come back. You know, just whether you squandered some opportunities at the beginning to allow that lead to happen. Wasn't the case here, really, but and we've seen it in the past with Ko Pin-Yi. Sometimes it's out of your hands. I can't remember exactly which tournament it was a few years ago, UK Open maybe, where he was really playing good and then all of a sudden got beat 9 or 10 to nothing. And it almost happened again just last year in another event. All right, he's going to elevate here and draw the cue ball. He's got to be a little careful. This table's going to draw a little easier. The bed's, you know, again, only got a few matches on it. Kind of a stun draw. Pretty smart play.
The 9 to complete a much needed rack for Ko Pin-Yi. A little belatedly, yes, but at least he's off the mark. Jayson Chua's lead reduced to 4-1. So what about the other table? Table 1. Well, Claudio Kachi is still in front, but we saw him miss that 3 ball. And I think it cost him rack 5 against Johan Chua, so Kachi's lead a 3-2. Again, just a reminder, the other 2 quarterfinals coming your way later on this evening. Over on table 1, it will be Harry Vagara against Jeffrey Rodder. One Filipino guaranteed to be in the semi-finals. And our next coverage, centre stage, will be Carlo Biardo against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Biardo 7-2 down this afternoon. Reached the line without further loss, winning 8 consecutive racks.
Well, I think there were something like 8 breaking runs between the 2 players in that match, and again, I think the pocket and the table's breaking really well, and the pocket's playing a hair softer in the outer tables. I think it really leans towards, or lends towards, someone putting some racks together. First time I've seen someone today break from that side of the box on this table. It's been pretty much the left side of the box, the player's left, that is.
So consecutive dry breaks.
Yeah, I don't think that had much to do with the rack, where I think Jayson's may have had a little something to do with the rack. No 9-ball movement there. Jayson should be pretty comfortable applying the inside here. Maybe he's just trying to go above and take the cut. I was going to say the inside shouldn't have been a problem.
This version of Jayson Shaw has seen patience as a virtue.
Yeah, it's so hard for any player to not want to bank that ball, especially after you're the person who didn't get the position. But when you're so talented, you know, tactically, you can become as good as anyone because he's got such good touch. So all the standard kind of safeties, you know, are pretty routine ones that we all play. You know, those kind of protect themselves. But the other ones, like the one he just exhibited right there, those require a little bit more imagination and touch as well, or talent maybe.
Yeah, and the Glaswegian's shot choice has been clearly vindicated.
Yeah, he's got to get some type of short side on the pink, or maybe a 4-5 combination here after the red 3. Short side I was talking about, and that goes along with that good touch that Chua has, like all these players really. Chua has tied the match at 3 games apiece after a missed safety from Cledio. He let up on that one, Phil, and it was, I think last year, maybe the year before, that was like the only flaw in Jayson every now and again with the draw stroke. He seemed to have a little bit of deceleration at times, or maybe just not thoroughly getting through the ball.
Does he look for redemption through positivity, or does that patience remain?
I think you got to edge this and run into the corner where his chalk is on the lower left. Just edge it over there on the rail. Keep it simple. Let it broaden a little bit. He's going to try and get the 6-up table, which I understand. And that's good stuff. Good speed on the object ball.
He's got such a youthful face and demeanour, Ko Pin-Yi. Not quite a veteran, I think that would be an exaggeration, but he's a seasoned pro. Turned 35 earlier this year.
Yeah, this is bankable, even though it's easy to get a double kiss, but he may try to cut this a little with a high ball, put the 6 below the 9, maybe? Yeah, like that. That's kind of the shot I saw. He wanted to cut a little more. He's worried about the cue ball running, but with the high ball and the newer felt, it'll usually kind of maintain up table.
Now, this has always been one of Chua's strengths, this kind of shot. You see him float this ball in with great ease. There's something aesthetically pleasing about a left-hander, and Chua definitely falls into that aesthetically pleasing category. He will be pleased, very pleased, to be halfway to victory, and that's because he leads Ko Pin-Yi a major I must say, I'm really looking forward to next week. Yes, 9-ball pool is an individual sport, but our 3 big team events, the Reyes Cup, the Mosconi Cup coming up in Florida at the end of November, and the World Cup of Pool, they're fantastic tournaments.
Yeah, Yeah, they always give us something to remember, and if you've ever gotten to play in anything like that, you just can't duplicate the feelings you go through. And of course, the Reyes Cup will bring some new ones for a lot of people, including some of us pundits, which is pretty sweet.
Well, your task next week, your favour to me, Jeremy, is to properly introduce me to Efren Reyes. I've had a few very short conversations with him, but not anything lengthy.
Okay, well, we'll certainly get that done, and that's a little surprising to me. I'm sure he knows who you are. Uh-oh, an overcut here that will not slide in. So a few little moments that Copigny has had, chances. This is as big as any.
I think getting acquainted with Efren Reyes will be the same kind of experience as it was for me 35 years ago now, when I got to know the great Steve Davis.
Well, I know you bet many of them in the golf as well. You told me about meeting Arnold Palmer and I believe it Jack as well, right?
Absolutely, Gary Player, yep. First time I shook hands with Arnold Palmer, honestly, a bolt of electricity went down my back. It was ridiculous, really. But it meant so much, because he means so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just did so much for a sport, did so much for so many different golfers, not just himself, and just all the charisma. It's just obvious. The champion, along with Efren Reyes, is the same. A man of the people there in the Philippines. Used to go around, went a few times where there really wasn't a big tournament. Got to spend a lot of time with him, of course, walking the streets and whatnot. Of course, people just come up to him, just love him, but he truly loves the people. He'd hand out money, and of course, there's plenty of people in the Philippines that could use it. It's just really a great dude.
As, by the way, is Copigny, always smiling, model professional, impeccable manners, and the most important thing of the lot, he backs up that terrific behaviour with a terrific game.
Yeah, and from what I'm seeing on this rack right here, that maybe I haven't seen all day, is him really get comfortable with the cueing and the stroke. It's just been a lot of Jayson Shaw not giving him too much opportunity.
On table one, not too far from centre stage, Claudio Kochi is back in front against Johan Chua at 4-3. We will see some big moves on the World 9-Ball Tour ranking list after this event. It's $30,000 to the winner, and when you bank that amount, it leads to a significant improvement, although because of that $250,000 first prize at the World 9-Ball Championship, and then he's winning the US Open, Fedor Gorst is ironclad, untouchable at the top of the rankings right now, and he will remain there for some foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think even the second place prize really put Kochi in a good spot. I'll tell you, a player that is on that other table, that you and I were both there at the World Cup, and what kind of pool he played along with James Aranis to win that World Cup in Spain last year. But he's turning into one of those consistent players a little more than someone that we're thinking, oh, let's go watch this match, because you never know what we're going to see with Chua. But what if he starts to hit somewhat of that gear as well here on these individual events? Had a final there at the European Open, and of course some other big results here of late as well. I think he's supposed to shoot at this as long as the pink does pass the brown to where he can make a great shot. Does he have a bit of a big pocket here with the 6 also? Kind of one of his, the kind of shots we always say one of his kind of bread and butters. Kind of going back and forth, maybe a hair check. I don't think he's playing safe. And he caught a double kiss as well, so that's an unforced error.
Yeah, that qualifiers is clumsy for anyone, let alone Ko Pin-Yi, who, by the way, on the rankings, the updated World 9 Ball Tour rankings after the Perry Open, is 13th. Jayson Chua, number 4. Not the highest ranked player left in the tournament though, Chua. That distinction goes to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, who is number 3.
Yeah, what's he doing here? Is he trying to pinch the cue ball back for another safety behind the 9? Did he get it what he wanted? Don't think so, just from his kind of mannerisms. And again, does the 4, the pink 4, pass the brown 7? If it does, again, I might have to go at this bank shot. The green 6 makes for a big pocket on the lower left. Well, it looks like he's going to play the safety. Nothing wrong with that. He's going to chop on the 3, get it above the purple, and run the cue ball. Using the 8 also, and it's amazing how good these players are in so many areas. Cue ball speed, not only that, the path, and controlling the object ball so well.
Yeah, it's the confluence of visualization and execution.
Again, something that I hadn't brought up this tournament, but I usually do, is I think even more than any sport out there, and I could be dead wrong for sure, but there's so many shots. You probably only practice maybe 25% of the shots on the pool table. All the other ones come up a little different here, a little different there. You got to have the imagination and, of course, the skill to kind of direct what you want.
Yeah, some racks are similar, but never identical.
Yeah, the only thing I can somewhat equate it to is maybe different lies on the golf course for the golf ball, which those players, I think, simulate a little better than even the stuff with the pool. Really good stuff here. He wants the 3 to get to the rail, though. That way he doesn't need some type of jump over the side.
I think the interesting dynamic here is that Chua, who's a real student of the game, he knows everything that's going on. He will be aware that Ko Pin-Yi in his last 2 matches has produced 2 really good comebacks. So he'll be delighted with that to prevent a build-up of momentum.
Yeah, and there's that big pocket on the green 6 I was talking about. That's why I thought Ko Pin-Yi may shoot at a few of those 3 balls, the cut earlier and then the bank. And he slid it in. And you can see right there the pocket playing a little easier than it has all week. Now, he didn't think about the slick table. It opened up on him.
That will really hurt. He knows that was a loose error.
Yeah, took it for granted. I don't know if we'll get a replay or not. We probably will. But you can see when it comes off, the rail just kind of hooks upward. Doesn't grab like the broke-in felt. All right, you don't want to get over this 8. Should be okay. Funny how sports is, you know, as well as anyone feels. Seems like it's been all Shaw, but really now we're at 5-3. Just 1 game off of tied.
Indeed, and 6-2 seemed almost certain. So that's a setback that Chua will have to try and shrug off. Table 1, Claudio Kochi and Johan Chua tightening also. In fact, it couldn't be tighter, 4-4.
Yeah, Chua looking for his first lead. He's at the table with the 6, 7, 8, and 9.
By the way, when you look at crowd numbers around these tables, you might have a misleading effect. Yes, directly around the table, it's a very healthy crowd, but there's so many more up top, out of sight. This afternoon, I thought the crowd was terrific. It was pretty evenly spread, actually, on the 4 tables, and there were lots of people watching the junior event as well.
Yeah, and you know, we all understand it. The World 9-Ball Tour goes to so many places globally, and you know, if we're in certain places and we don't have any of your local heroes, no matter who it is, not in that final 8 or final 4 or final 16, sometimes it can hurt the attendance, and it's understandable, even though there are pool fans, but that's not the case here in Vietnam. You know, none of the Vietnamese players still remain, but still a lot of the fans' heroes at the tables.
Yes, talking about the Vietnamese challenge here, over 80 players from Vietnam took part. We had 8 of them through to the last 64, which was a really good effort. But I'm afraid none survived to today, the last 16. Their challenge quickly fizzled.
Yeah, Kopini pretty smart there. I think it was dangerous trying to go back and forth with the cue ball. Now he has to settle for a pretty tough shot, cueing over the pocket. Knows he can't get the greatest position on the pink. It will do if he knocks in this red, but you know, it's all about this shot right here to cut that lead to 5-4.
Not one of those that rattled in the jaws and just narrowly failed. Kopini hit that ball with not a great amount of authority. I think the hesitation told you he didn't really fancy it.
Yeah, and that's just, you know, I said it earlier that I saw frustration from him that I've never seen before. From him, I'm saying, and again, when he played David, he just seems like he's, you know, he's dealing with something at the moment. Maybe nothing major, but just maybe not feeling his best, trying to grind through these matches. It's got to be a safety. There's no apparent pocket. And again, really good speed and control with not only the cue ball, but the object ball also.
And with the laws in place, he had to hit a cushion with either cue ball or the object ball after that shot, and it was fine tolerances.
He's got to draw this a little bit. You'll see it hook. He's trying to get underneath it like that. He's going to get a little fortunate, I think. Now the lefty will be able to reach the jump. We've seen some special jumps from him already.
Yeah, in the upper bracket of jumpers, isn't he?
Well, especially when the heat's on. I mean, that's what I talk about, like Skyler. I don't know if he's, you know, all the time, but it seems like when they're needed, he seems to bury him along with Eagle Eye. Been some jumps to remember this year on the World 9-Ball Tour. Also saw one in this match with the 3-9 kiss shot, a drawback. I don't know if any more than the, what was it, Phil, the 4-ball that Federer knocked in such a crucial time at the US Open when he was just, what, an inch away from the ball in front of him?
Yeah, certain people are sniffy about the jump shot, aren't they? But I think it's a terrific part of the game because it's such a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, and you know, I understand that the shorter cue makes it easier. I mean, I was in the era where, you know, you didn't have to use a jump cue, but we'll talk about that more in a moment.
Yes, we'll talk about that more because right now it's Jayson Shaw 6, Kochi 3. The Mansion Sports Hanoi Open is down to an elite 8 competitors, vying for a first prize of $30,000 In tonight's first 2 quarterfinals, Claudio Kochi and Chua, they've been trading racks. They continue to do so, and they're locked together at 5-5. As for Jayson Shaw, well, you could say he threw away the 8th rack, but thanks to a crowd-pleasing jump in the 9th, he's back 3 in front at 6-3, and of course he gets to break in rack 10.
Well, the 2's out in the center, nothing near it. A good sign for Eagle Eye to not only get this rack started, but from what I can see, should get out here, and percentages say he gets out and extends that lead. Got a little angle here. He could float it. Probably goes to the rail and back out. Main concern, really just hold a little angle on the 3 to get nicely onto the 4. Now he'll go forward here. And you can handle a lot of distance on the 4, knowing with a little angle, you can easily get on the 5, and that really opens up the rack. So does he stun across? Does he go with high inside? Really has a choice of either.
No stranger to breaking and running out in his 3rd match this week. In winners qualification against Win Van High, he won 9-2, had 6 break and runouts.
Wow. We've seen him. I've seen him do that a lot of times, actually, where he had 4 or 5 break and runs. It seemed like at least every match. That 6, though, in one match on the World Mountain Ball Tour with the pocket size and the break rule, and not only that, just the heat of your opponent, knowing a mistake it can be so costly. It's just really impressive stuff. Jayson giving the crowd a little fun there. He gave a little ooh and ah, and he gave a little look back.
He's a Scotsman and a showman.
Well, it just kind of tells you where he's at, and not only that, tells you that he likes where he's at here in Vietnam, to be able to have a little fun with the crowd.
He doesn't like that. That was one of the most ridiculous, ludicrous, extraordinary, whatever word you like to apply to it, misses of the entire tournament. That's got to be a lapse of concentration, Jeremy.
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of feel like he didn't go through his normal process there. And again, we talked about it earlier. The draw stroke, you know, had been what I feel like a year and a half, 2 years since I really have seen an issue with that with Jayson. But now it's been a couple times here in this match.
Well, twice in 3 racks, Kochi has been handed a lifeline. Short scratch from nowhere in the 8th rack, but he's missed on the 8th there. That was unforgivable. How is this match 6-4? I don't know, but it is.
Yeah, those 2 kids on the screen, met with them outside walking out, and they're just trying to get every signature they can. True pool fans at a young feel. Pretty surprising.
Well, we've said about Jayson Chua being popular. Now it's the Koh Ping Yi cheering section who are in good voice. Chua, he's very experienced. He's played in the heat of battle at the Mosconi Cup and prospered, winning more than one MVP there. But it doesn't matter who you are. Human nature dictates that when you miss a ball like that, you're bound to be fretting a little.
Yeah, we always talk about the pool gods giving you a little punishment. I thought like Vagara we saw with that incredible out to get on the hill earlier. I think he deserved the golden break really to win it. But I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks and gets a nice shot. And there you have it. I mean, it's not the easiest of shots, but one that he usually excels at. And he just really has to go back and forth with the real open pink after making the 1 and the 3 on the break. Unless the camera's fooling me here, Phil, this certainly looks playable. I think he's trying to figure out the speed, you'll notice, because the purple 5 doesn't go by the brown 7. So he wants to get nice on the paint. Doesn't need the rail, though. So he's bounced off of there. He's gotten a little straight, but the draw stroke should do. He's gotten a little off angle here. It's not the hardest combination. He could play into the rail and kiss the 5 off the 7 as well. This actually lays really nice. I think it will be the combo though.
Years of experience caused Jeremy to predict precisely this. Rack 10 was gifted to Koh Ping Yi, and you just sensed when he broke off good things would happen, and they most certainly did. He's now leading the cheers, Koh Ping Yi. Remember, at his lowest ebb, he was 5-1 down. He still trails, but only 6-5. 6-5 for Johan Chua on table 1 as well over Claudio Cachi. The first 2 quarterfinals keenly contested.
Yeah, and really maybe kind of setting up the crowd for the Reyes Cup with those chants right there. This match could certainly be a big one come next week. The same duo.
I'm still trying to digest the 2 mistakes from Chua. The in-off in the 8th rack in potting the 5, and then a mistake I still can't get my head around. The 8 ball missed when on the cusp of being 7-3 up.
Yeah, those 2 mistakes, you're looking at 8-2, and the way the table's breaking and what we felt like Shaw playing exponentially could have been maybe close to over. Johan Chua at the table trying to extend his lead. Great break off. He's going to need a little luck to get a shot at the 2 here, and it's there. What I mean by luck, cue ball zigzagging with all that traffic. Now the newer felt that's on the match table here, kind of a little more conducive for this first shot. I think he's going to try and hold the cue ball for the 3 in the lower left. Could try to come backside on the 3, but I think that makes things a little more difficult. That's what I was saying. This is a difficult shot. I don't know if he attacks here or not. I think so, but is he going to draw into the 8 here? Type of shot. Very easy to hit a little thick into this lower jaw. I like him taking a second look here and really contemplating his offense, the correct shot. A little more compact there, and it worked out.
Neither player here close to the hill yet, but in the Hanoi Open Junior Championship, Albert Janawata from Indonesia is on the hill against John Rell Seguiped. (8-5) to Janawata, whose brother did well in the main event. Got through to single elimination.
Yeah, his brother obviously quite young as well. Yeah, got a little quick with it. That's why he didn't get quite as much draw. Happy to see the ball down though. And again, the main thing here on the green 6 with a 7-8 combination, as long as you can get a look, pretty much impossible to miss for Koping-Yi. Just make sure you don't make both balls here. Sometimes you can fool yourself and say it's pretty impossible to do so, but ball nears the pocket, funny things can happen. So is Shaw, has he shot since that missed 8? I don't think he has.
Shaw being tortured by the pool gods who don't like sloppiness. Koping-Yi for the first time since they lagged. He's on level 2. When eagle-eyed Jayson Chua soared into a 5-1 lead, it looked as though he might well win this one comfortably. There's nothing comfortable about this now, though. In fact, Jayson Chua has been rocked on his heels. Here is rack 13, Kopin Yi, who was also 6-3 down, is now on level terms, breaking off, trying to go ahead for the first time. Chua has got only himself to blame. 2 very big errors and timely mistakes.
Maybe a bit of a roll there. We'll certainly get another look. I think the cue ball was going to follow that one ball in the side. Always talk about unfortunate kisses. It may have been quite the opposite there.
While he's contemplating here on the other table, Johan Chua getting some daylight between himself and Claudio Cacci. Chua, who went well behind early on, is now 7-5 up.
He's close to this ball. Is he trying to squeeze him up behind the brown? It's not that hard when you're close. Watch out for the 9 down the table if he misses his mark. Now, he did get the 2 in a good spot. It didn't get the snooker.
Remember, not unlimited time to think about things. It's a 30-second shot clock with 1 30-second extension per player per rack. Normally doesn't hinder Chua, but on this occasion he feels the need to take some more time. So he's burnt his extension early in this rack.
Yeah, and always a touchy shot from distance, having to roll the ball and not only control the cue ball a bit, but definitely control the object ball. I think he did leave the bottom part though here. Well, maybe not. Thought he could get a little snip of the blue too, which would make a huge difference on this shot. And he went a long ways with the cue ball. And I understand it, and I think he may have overran his mark because he didn't want to leave the jump. He was, you know, you get the feeling, oh, the 2's going to roam over the side, and even if I get the snooker, it's going to be an easy jump for Shaw. So making sure of that. Definitely no cupcake here.
It wasn't clean, but it was badly needed, that.
Yeah, maybe the perfect example of a ball that wouldn't have gone on the outer tables, in my opinion. I think that ball hangs for sure.
Well, at the UK Open back in May, that definitely misses. The pockets there were especially brutal.
Yeah, and I think it's just, you know, we've only played this match table's been covered up all week, waiting for that final 16. And what do we have, a 10-3 win from Chua on it? And then I can't remember what the score in the second match was, but there hasn't been many games on it, so the pocket's going to play a hair softer. Still not easy, though.
So often these matches, especially the lengthier ones, ebb and flow, and I think players accept that, almost anticipate it. He's cocky, isn't he?
Obvious they both have a lot of mutual fans, but I think the fans, as much as anything, they just want to see as much pool as possible.
It's like those bleacher creatures at Yankee Stadium when they do the roll call. Derek Jeter, Jayson Shaw. In he goes, Shaw back in front. Weren't they the same people who were singing Copin Ye a few moments ago? I think they shift allegiances quickly. And this scoreboard is shifting back in favour of the Glaswegian.
And you got to like it. The fans, of course, part of every sport. The big ones here in Vietnam. And, you know, we have a great crowd tonight, but tomorrow's going to get even crazier. And if they get involved, I'll tell you, you're going to have to check your emotions at the door if you're a player.
I was thinking, and of course it's now very much hypothetically, as we see Johan Chua with a chance to go 8-6 up against Claudio Kachi. Can you imagine if Vietnam's leading player Duong Quoc Quang got to the final here? The atmosphere would be unprecedented. By the way, if you're watching on Sky Sports, Duong Quoc Quang's tournament ended at the hands of a Mancunian, Dean Shields.
All right, the two's going to slide. It's going to spin upwards. So again, I think we're seeing a table that's going to offer a lot of offense, not only in this match and the remainder of it, but all the matches to come after this one tonight. We'll have 3 on here tomorrow, 2 semifinals, and what will be one heck of a race to 13 between 2 great players.
Now, the one thing we don't want is people shouting out on shots. I don't think that was intentional. I think the person who did it was excited about what had just occurred on table 1, but that could be off-putting. A lone wolf, as it were, making noise at an inappropriate time.
Well, you know, Team Asia has never played in a Moscone Cup, obviously, and this could get a little funny on top of the purple. It needs to slow down a little bit, just enough, and he has an angle. But if you've ever watched any videos on social media or some other things from the Philippines, and there's some countries out there besides the Philippines that are like this, but there may be like 50 people right on top of the table while they're playing a huge challenge match of some sort, or even tournament play there in the Philippines at times.
Shaw, it seems, re-energised, but we all know what happened to the penultimate ball. In rack 10, oh, I was going to say the same thing, almost happened there.
Kind of two-stroked it. I know he doesn't stay down on it very long, but that's almost reminded me of the 8-ball, kind of the process he went through, like right there, much more bearing down on that 9. And again, that ball doesn't go on the outer table to round 7.
Jayson Shaw styling it out, but I tell you what, he knows he got away with one there. And maybe that mid-match blip is over, but had that 7 ball stayed above ground, the whole complexion of this match would have changed yet again. Shaw 8-6 by the skin of his teeth. Also 8-6 on table 1. Johan Chua a couple of racks away from the semi-finals. Eklan Kachi's kid brother Claudio has got an awful lot of work to do, especially with Chua at the table, with a chance to go 3 up with 4 to play. Jeremy, not that you ever missed anything hitting jaws like that, you were very reliable, but when you do play a shot like the 7 Shaw has just hit, and it teeters and totters and eventually goes in, that must be an immense sense of relief.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you know, I think for Jayson, yeah, absolutely. You know, up and down in just a split second, your emotions. But I think for him, it's just like he did on that 9 ball, kind of woke him up. Take a little more dead aim, as we used to call it. Cue ball nearing this corner. 2 got a kiss, so Kopini's going to get some type of choice, most likely, on a push out. You would think. I don't think he goes after the jump, but you never know.
You might think Shaw missed the 8 ball, he almost missed the 7. He went in off, didn't he, in the 8th rack when he got a wonderful golden chance to win that one. You might think, well, is it a bottle issue? Well, I can tell you it is most certainly not. He's held his bottle under extreme pressure in individual and team environments. I think it's more a concentration issue.
I totally agree. Yeah, you just can't take him for granted. I mean, just a subtle mishit on the cue ball can cause a lot of different types of mistakes, and missing balls is the most glaring of all those mistakes.
So we've seen an awful lot of spectacular in this match. That was the least spectacular shot of the lot, the dink push out. What do you make of it, Jeremy?
Yeah, I don't think the 3 has a whole lot on offer, so I'm kind of curious what he may do here. I mean, you could, I'll tell you what you could do. You could float the 2 past the side and just try and use that skill floating the cue ball over behind the purple. That's what I kind of like with the 3 covered up. You get a little more, you can be a little more risky with safeties when you have a ball that's a hair more covered up at times, like the red 3. That's the shot I like. Looks like he's going to play the other way. He's going to play the 2 and then go behind the 9. Pretty smart. It's going to get up a little bit on him, but still not bad. And
you might have noticed on the front row there, standing behind Jayson Shaw as he played that shot, Emily Fraser, CEO of Matchroom Multisport, and on Emily's left as we're looking, Bethany Sykes, a Q Sports enthusiast from Virginia, USA, who played in this tournament. She loves what Matchroom is doing with the World 9 Ball Tour, and she comes to these events and tries to support them wholeheartedly. So good luck to her.
yeah, really nice lady, always has been, and she just loves pool. Of course, she plays it, but she supports the game in every way possible. I don't know what he's doing. Is he going for the bank here? No, that's going to be disappointing, because that tells me the red 3 is open. He had a chance to maybe do something here and get to the breaking end of the game. I think Johan just won another game and broke. I think he is on the hill at 9-6. Okay, nice solid contact on the 3. Definitely by design. You kind of wonder who you like. I always go with the guys that are trending, really, but I picked Ko Ping Chung just because he's so solid. He's always trending, it seems like. It'd be all right by me if Johan Chua took this tournament down with the results and the grind he's been on of late.
Well, it would be all right by me, because it would do me the world of good in terms of kudos, prediction kudos. He was my choice.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. He's probably destined to win now anyways, after Phil picked him. Most of them, they're doomed when they get picked by a pundit, but Phil just seems to run lucky.
Yeah, as they say in betting shops and casinos around the world. We could stop a train.
It's that good, clean living.
Now one good positional shot here, and the hill is looming for Jayson Chua.
Yeah, he's got to command the speed, though. Really good, and it was really nice that the 8 wasn't really any kind of problem. But the thing is, if you look at that 5 ball, that just kind of tells you where he lost focus on those other 2 mistakes. Notice how much longer he was down on the ball when he shot the 5, knowing there was some, some things that were demanding. Just kind of took the other ones for granted.
Now that wasn't exactly clean, but there was a reason for that. He wanted to make that particular angle.
Yeah, I think the stretch got him on his accuracy a little bit. I like him keeping it simple, though. He can play short side here or 2 rails across. Yeah, short side, pretty smart.
And this is the virtually identical shot he was practicing with his last shot of his practice rack just before the contest began. Jayson Chua almost. Your return is impeccably timed, and I can tell you the reason. The crowd are electrified because we've had our first result of the evening on table 1. Yeah, you can gather Johan Chua with a wide smile on his face, holding aloft the Filipino flag, has just defeated Claudio Kochi 10-6. Kochi had a chance in the 16th rack, but he scratched, and that was the death knell. Chua tidied up. So the runner-up recently at the European Open into the last 4 to take on Francisco Sanchez Ruiz or Carlo Biardo, who will take over from these 2 when the main table match, the first of the evening, is complete.
Yeah, hats off to Johan Chua, his 3rd semifinal on the World 9-Ball Tour this year. So good stuff. And again, got to figure if that guy ever gets really, really comfortable, it's going to be a lot more in the semifinal and maybe more often just once or twice. Kopini's got to do something special here. Needs 4 in a row to stay in this match. He's got to earn it here in rack number 16 because nothing easy to start with. A push out is always difficult.
Yeah, you're right about Chua. 3 World 9-Ball Tour major ranking event semi-finals. World Championship, European Open now here. He's also been to the quarter-final of the Lushan Open, the semi-final of the Nightshot Open in Dubai, and he won the Shanghai Zen and Yuan 8 Open in China, beating Wu Kunlin in the final. It's been a fantastic year for the current world number 10, who's on the way up.
Yeah, and it's just getting more comfortable, and I think it's going to be something special if we ever get to see him just get totally comfortable, but maybe too scary really as well. I thought he may jump this after the push out. I think 100% the correct decision to pass it back. But I thought he might take a stab at knocking that in the corner and drawing the cue ball back for somewhat of safe. I wonder if he ever really entertained that. Now Shaw has got to shoot this in the corner and try and get out. I think the 3 does play from somewhere around where the cue ball's at now. I think the cut in the corner not too difficult. I think much more missable in the side actually than the upper right. Now he's got an easy safety, don't get me wrong. I mean, safety has been part of the theme here in 2024 for Shaw at the Hanoi Open. I think he's supposed to shoot. That's just me. Now, I don't know if it was the thinking it over that really caused that miss. What I kind of saw, Phil, you may say different, but I think he inspected the safety the whole time and then just last second decided, oh, let me shoot this in the corner instead of getting the focus.
Yes, and when you're an instinctive player like Jayson Chua, if you do take your time over a shot, you can actually dilute your own rhythm.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit just the process of, who was it? It was Earl, I think, at the Moscone in 2022. He had that 5-ball on the side. We all thought he would shoot, and then last second he got down and tried to shoot in the corner and missed it. And of course, it was a difficult shot, but just didn't let the mind get kind of focused, you would say. Really nice shot there and a good decision not to try and work the cue ball too much. He's been the comeback kid, Phil. What do you think?
I would not write him off. No way, no how. And of course, on this table, we've already seen earlier in the week a fine comeback from Shane Van Boening. 9-6 down against Mickey Kraus. Ended up a 10-9 winner. Copenhagen has the class, the nerve, the ability, and the pedigree to turn this around wholesale.
Yeah, and he may get a quick one here with the 4-9 in some type of way. We'll see if he decides to kill the cue ball. Play kiss shot maybe. Could play position. Now this position has to be really good to get back on the purple 5 up the table. I don't know. It looks like he may have fallen a little bit short. Doesn't seem too upset about it though. Now, can he avoid the 9? Certainly doesn't want to go forward off of this heavy angle all the way around the table. It may draw through the 9 here. Look how delicate and how good of the accuracy was there, going between the 6 and the 9.
It's been the kind of match, though, that you can't get blasé about any pot. Somewhat of an overreaction for what was a routine shot for shape. I was wondering who they were cheering. Well, it's Copenhagen who stays alive. Jayson Chua's lead reduced to 9-7, and of course in the winner breaks format, Copenhagen now gets to break in rack 17.
Yeah, our second table, Jeffrey Rhoda and Harry Vagara with their practice racks now, due to tee it off pretty soon. I think that's going to be one heck of a match as well. And Rhoda kind of gets overlooked a little bit. Another one of those really nice, humble, quiet Filipinos that is really a cold-blooded killer at the pool table.
Yeah, I would find it difficult to predict a winner there between Vagara on a high after beating Shane Van Boening this afternoon, or Jeffrey Rhoda, who has got the tournament background. By the way, Harry Vagara has only played in one 9-ball tour ranking event before, the Night Shot Open in Dubai. He won his first match against someone, he told me this afternoon, he couldn't remember the name. Then he lost his next 2 to Mario He, and funnily enough to Shane Van Boening. So here he is in the quarterfinals of his next event, having only previously won one match on the World 9-Ball Tour before he arrived here, as a qualifier, by the way.
They said only a week ago qualifying. All right, caught that one a little thick. The 2 up by the cue ball. Is it going to slow down? No, it's not. I don't know. This may be bankable. Yeah, I think it is. And you can kind of draw towards the 3-7 if you like. He's looking to see if he can hit more of a high ball with the bank. High ball, to me, makes it a little more missable, but we'll see.
And when your opponent is on the hill, you have to be so circumspect. Any mistake could be your last.
All right, he's elevating the cue. We'll see. This overhead should tell us really kind of what he's doing with the shot. Now he's kind of looking at it like he's certainly banking at it, to me anyways. Now it looks like with a high ball he's playing safe. The prudent play, really. Jayson has kicked a number of these types in through the years. Really good speed, knowing it's hard to hang it. Maybe get some separation.
He wanted that cue ball to hit just on the left-hand side of the brown 7 as we're looking. He was urging it on, and it just about made the right contact. A little thinner would have been even better.
And Koping doesn't mind that 3-7 getting a little disturbed, just in case, he's a little bit of a rough spot here. Good control on a containing safety.
Well, rack 17 is the messiest of the match.
And I tell you, he's got to be careful here. You don't want to leave an easy safety. Good stuff there, Jayson. Not saying Koping he didn't have a shot, but it's going to be delicate. I'll tell you something about Jeffrey Rhoda. I really thought he could have won that U.S. Open just a couple months ago. The way he was playing, the way just kind of the tournament was going, felt like it was anyone's tournament that had made it to that final 16. And I think his World Nine-Ball Tour career is going to be very prosperous and long, just because he's such a good cueist, Rhoda, and knocks the ball in so nicely. The 4-inch pocket, I think, is going to bode well for him. Paper thin.
Well, that shot produced an eventful few seconds.
It's amazing how thin you can hit an object ball with the cue ball. Even at speed, just rock over. All right, he's got to be clear cut here, even though the 3 is a little tied up. You don't want to just leave some easy safety, or maybe something he can break the balls out. Oh, really good behind the paint. Koping not giving in.
Is there a way through for the 2 as we see the bird's eye view from the top of the grandstand?
The 6-9 here. That's a bit short, it looks like. I wonder if he can kiss this in, huh? The 8 ball, maybe put the 2 towards the 9. Any chance of that, Phil? Kind of banking the 2 over towards the 9 and play the kiss shot on the 8? You know, and then have the 2 and 9 for the next shot? Looks very doable to me anyways. The angle looks good.
Well, you always know with Shaw, if there's value in being aggressive, he probably will be.
Yeah, he's kind of covered himself up on the blue too. And there was nothing wrong with that either. He wanted to secure the 8. I thought, you know, the kiss shot was pretty secure as well. But man, he's always so good with the object ball speed. You know, shooting straight at him or kicking behind him like that one.
When the balls went as they did early on in this rack, you got the sense it would be the lengthiest of the match, and it most definitely will be. Lengthiest, and Jayson Shaw is hoping the most important, the one that gets him over the line.
Leveling out here. I'm not really sure what he's doing. I didn't think he wasn't playing that. Certainly wasn't playing it. He was trying to 2-rail the 2 ball behind the pink. Now a little laugh. He's going to have to show that kicking skill we all know he possesses. I think it's there to kind of kick 2 rails and come across the 3 lightly and use the 7 as a snooker.
Sometimes a fluke can be so consequential. Sometimes they can indirectly hurt you.
Yeah, and this will not be at a heavy speed. This actually lays pretty good. That camera angle showed me a lot. Just a real light stroke, come 2 rails, just edge the 3 as you and let it go by the 7. Just like that.
Outstanding. That would have been outstanding in the first rack, let alone with your tournament on the line.
Now Coping, he just hopes he can get the 3 past the 7. I'll have Shaw in jail, really, if that's the case. If he can get this by the 7, this match really far from over.
Did not attempt anything extravagant. Shaw locked up with little hope of remission.
Yeah, he's going to surrender ball in hand, trying to tie the 4-5 up. Doesn't want the 3 to move much, obviously. Could go behind the 4-5, but I would have rather contained the 3 a little more. Understand percentages are on your side still, and maybe that wasn't possible. But the jump cue definitely on offer. He's going to cut this a bit, so he's going to get action on the 7. Is he trying to cut it by the 7? That's asking a lot. I'll go ahead and hit it as full as I can. A little on the right side. Bring the cue ball down towards the 4-5. He may fluke the 7 cross side though. Well, the 7's going to give a little bit of a big pocket. I think anyways. Well, I don't don't know if it's really helping it out that much.
Hanging on for grim life.
Yeah, one of the best in the business, though, kind of rolling your ball with spin. Doesn't have to force it here, just kind of accept it a little bit. He's hitting downward, so he's, instead of spinning the ball, he's going to pinch it a bit. And he's overcut it. Way off the mark there. Look at the cue ball.
Of course he wanted to pop that, but if he was going to miss, better overcut than under.
And he's really not afraid, like I said, to roll the ball with English. Instead, he decided to really try and pinch it. Surprising to me, really. That's got to go. I think he can make it. It's awfully close.
In terms of the availability of the potting angle, has Chua just made the journey by a millimetre?
Yeah, he's playing safe. You can see the aiming point here. Uh-oh. Better say something to it. Better say something to it.
Jayson Chua, pool player, and it seems traffic controller.
Well, I think we'd all love these atmospheres, but maybe no one more than him. Okay, another one that's usually his bread and butter, kind of smoothing this ball in from distance.
Applying a certain amount of power to this. The green six has to go in quite cleanly. These middles will not tolerate any inaccuracy. Went in as clean as a whistle. Is the crown of Jayson Chua starting to slip a little? Will the great escape artist, Ko Pin-Yi, come back from well behind for the third consecutive match? What we do know for certain, Jayson Chua remains on the hill. He needs one more. Now though, Ko Pin-Yi needs only two.
Yeah,
completely overshadowed, of course, as it should be, because it's in the early stages on table one. Harry Vagara having one of the days of his life, 2-0 up on Jeffrey Roeder. Crowd members there showing their WNT badges, World 9-Ball Tour. What a product, what a match. We saw Kopin Yi in the frame, now he's squarely in the rack.
Yeah, I don't think he takes this in the corner. I think he takes it in the side. He may have to draw into the 9 here. He may get a little action, kind of slow rolling the 9 towards that right middle as he plays the 2 in the opposite middle. It'll be like it's kind of like a stun draw stroke, really. I don't know if the 9 will have enough speed, but what I see, Phil, the line's pretty close for this 9 to have a chance. Now, you don't want to think about the 9 too much and lose accuracy on the 2, trying to overhit the ball, moving the 9, but I think it is going to move a little towards that middle.
Not recommended with shots like that to hit too much of that far jaw. It only grazed it, but almost repelled.
Yeah, and that's why he simply had to ignore the 9, besides using it to hold the cue ball. So one good draw stroke here, avoiding the 7. And there's that 9 again. I think we're going to get every bit of what we wanted, which is the maximum amount of games played between these 2.
Times like this, you sometimes forget there's a shot clock. I think that temporarily had gone out of Kopin Yi's thoughts, but the extension now called. Doesn't want to rush on the shot, and of course he's taken his extension. Still okay.
Okay, didn't get much draw. He didn't want to flirt with the 9, like awkward cueing. So I think he avoids the 9 in the side here. This is more about 2 rails back and forth for the 9 in the lower right. I think anyways.
I think we're going to see a fitting conclusion to what's been a cracking encounter. today with Koh Pin Yi. He was 4-0, 5-1, 6-3, and latterly 9-6 down. But he doesn't know how to wave a white flag, certainly not this week. He has had spirited fight backs here, there and everywhere. And now it's all down to one final rack. Will Jayson Chua survive and remain on course for a successful title defence? Or will the crown leave his head?
And Jayson just hoping to get to the table, no matter if it's a push out, some type of situation to get that cue in his hand. Right now, he's just like us, a spectator.
Yes, there's no doubt. Koh Pin Yi has momentum. 3 consecutive racks. He's also got the advantage of breaking off. It's a matter of whether he can capitalise. We'll soon find out.
Down. I think the cue ball got a friendly kiss there from the blue too to survive staying on the table. It was going to be near the left middle. And Koh Pin Yi has the first chance.
If you recall, it's not as if Jayson Chua has thrown this away. At 9-6, he had a decision to make. Play safe on the one or go for that tricky blind cut back to the top right hand pocket as we're looking. He took on the big ball, overcut it, and ever since his rhythm and his control of this match has ebbed away.
Yeah, it was at 9-7. There were some safety battles, some kicking and returns, some curb shots, a couple jumps. Seems like it had it all, but now just a draw stroke away from getting in position, kind of stealing this match. Now he's just perfect to stun out to the middle. Everything plays, Phil. It's really in his hands.
2015 was Koh Pin Yi's banner year. World 9-ball champion. Part of the World Cup winning duo with Chang Yulong, Billiards Digest Player of the Year. That was almost a decade ago, but he remains very much in the upper echelon. And when it comes to tenacity, he's right there with the very best.
Yeah, certainly another one of those players that know how to close. Everyone can have problems here and there, but when he sees that finish line, he seems to get stronger. I like him playing short side here. I hate to force the 4 to get to the 5 on the short pocket and then have some problem with the brown 7. Kind of like trying to move the cue ball from the 5 to the 6. So I think this lays pretty natural and go with your gut. I think his gut told him short side on the 5. Now he stunned it and hit it really well.
It appears as though Jayson Chua's reign as the Hanoi Open champion is drawing to a close.
Yeah, he wants to get the speed right here, though. He doesn't want to be. Oh, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. He can just pull the ball up freely up the left side. Doesn't have to worry about too much angle. Doesn't have to worry about falling on the rail on the 7. The angle on the 6 will not allow that. Pretty good. Maybe a little bit of a stretch for the right-hander. Now, does he pull this? It may be a little thin. He may have to float this just a touch.
The 7 was on the brink of the pocket, and now Jayson Chua sitting there on the brink of defeat.
Yeah, that still shows you got to finish it. They're not going to give it to you. And Koh Ping Yee's going to give us a fist pump here.
Last year, he won the World Masters. Tonight, in the Vietnamese capital, he has mastered the defending champion.